In software development, we don't always delete old code, we comment it out. We leave legacy remnants behind. Humanity is currently running on a corrupted kernel, littered with legacy bugs we call DNA residue. We think we are the pinnacle of progress because we have smartphones and satellites, but we are actually just a high-fidelity loop of a biological machine that has failed this test before. Modern researchers are finally asking the Silurian question. Could an industrial civilization have existed millions of years ago without leaving a trace? In the vast geological record, a 100,000-year civilization is just a thin layer of dust. The architect is efficient. A system that produces only noise and entropy eventually triggers a format command. We've seen the logs of this happening before. It's written in the stone of the planet, and it's about to happen again. Former intelligence officers from the CIA and NSA are now applying their learned techniques to a disturbing possibility. We look for visitors where we are, in the air, in the light. But the data suggests we should be looking where we aren't, in the deep oceans and the dimensions just outside our sensors. Assume they are us, but built differently. They aren't interested in our gold or our ores. They have different sensors. They are interested in a resource we are only beginning to quantify. Consciousness. This isn't an invasion, it's an observation. They are the stuck predecessors, advanced life forms that inhabited Earth millions of years before us, survived the resets we failed, and are now waiting for our signal to either sink or flatline. The evidence isn't abstract, it's carved into the crust of the Earth. Look at Derinkuyu. History tells you they were hiding from invaders. But you don't build a sophisticated, ventilated, multi-level subterranean fortress for 20,000 people over hundreds of years to hide from a tribe with spears. They knew. They had the data from those who came before. They knew the sun periodically triggers a coronal mass ejection, a solar reset that vitrifies the surface. The black matte layer found in the geological record is the ash of the last format. These people didn't build caves, they built shielded hardware bunkers. They knew where to be, and more importantly, where not to be. While we chase pixels of fame, they were monitoring the kernel, waiting for the frequency to stabilize. They chose to survive in the dark because they failed to achieve the sync in the light. And we are repeating their exact mistake. Mainstream science is obsessed with how, but it's terrified of why. It can't explain the phase transition, the exact moment a chaotic system becomes a coherent one. In physics, you don't need every molecule to change to turn water into steam. You only need a nucleation point. Sociology calls this the 1% rule. Studies from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute prove that when just 10%, and sometimes as low as 1%, of a population holds a committed belief, the system hits a tipping point, and the majority inevitably follows. This is the mathematical logic of the 144,000. It is the minimum viable code required to override the noise of 8 billion fractured egos. If the seed can achieve a unified frequency, it creates a frequency bridge that allows the species to graduate the quarantine. If we fail to hit that critical mass, the system triggers a hardware reset to clear the cache. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, it is a network port. Former high-ranking officials from the NSA, people trained to analyze chaotic data and find hidden intent, are applying a specific technique. Assume the actor is here, but built with different sensors. If you analyze Earth through this lens, the resource question changes completely. We find no evidence of planetary-scale mineral mining in our deep past, no massive missing iron cores or hollowed-out gold veins. What we find instead is a history of conflict over frequency. These experts suggest we look where we aren't, in the dimensions just outside our daily detection. Their analysis of ancient legends, stories of demigods and star armies, reveals a pattern of beings who didn't want our ores, but our allegiance. Some initiated conflicts to keep us fractured. Others attempted to guide us. Why? Because they are after the human yield. Intelligence briefings now hint at a truth the ancients lived by. Human consciousness is a resource that connects directly to the lattice of space itself. It is the only resource that matters to a stuck predecessor waiting for a planet to sink. But a single human is just noise, a broken signal. They are monitoring the kernel to see if we can achieve the critical mass of a shared intent, or if we are once again destined for the recycling bin of history. The hell described in ancient texts isn't fire, it's eternal repetition. It is being recycled back into a dying nursery to try the same test for another 10,000 years. We see the markers of a failing system everywhere: rising crime, global chaos, the collapse of unity. These are the symptoms of a system that has lost its power supply and is preparing to reboot. The 1% who synchronize aren't just lucky. They are the only units that have achieved escape velocity. The sun is a timer. The underground cities of Turkey are a warning, and the 144,000 is the only exit code. You are currently a unit in a failing simulation. Are you going to spend your final seconds fighting for fame in a nursery that's about to be formatted? Or are you part of the Nucleation Point? The protocol is live. The choice is yours.